We brought you our weekly book recommendation. How about a podcast to start as well? Because every week we've been talking about... or talking to the host of an audio show that will help fight the boredom of a lockdown, but also it will inspire you as well. So this is for post-lockdown as well, when we go back to that new normal everybody keeps talking about. Last week it was all about football in Berkshire. Today we are talking about the big screen. Yes, we're talking films, but there again it could be the small screen, even perhaps a really small screen as you look on your phone. Let's speak to film critic and host of the OffScreen podcast, Van Connor. Van, hello to you.
And hello to you as well, Bill.
Let's have a look at this one then. It's all about film, is it? That's the deal with your podcast. You've become sort of even more film nerdy.
Well, no, actually, it's quite the other thing. We're sort of halfway between that and an entertainment guy. So our whole premise is to serve as the ultimate 7-day guide to everything movie. So under normal circumstances, when the world is running normally and the cinemas are open, the first half of our show, for instance, is dedicated to looking at films that are out in cinemas, brand new that weekend, and then the second half is everything that's on. We pick a Freeview movie, a movie that's on Freeview for every day of the week, pick out all the good stuff that's coming to DVD for the following week, and the new additions for streaming platforms as well.
Okay, so you sort of cover the gamut of movies there. It is a strange time as well, because whatever happens, as you say, it's not normal at the moment. It's going to be an interesting time even once we sort of get back to normal, whenever that is, because the film industry has stopped filming, hasn't it?
It really has. So, of course, all of us film critics have had to sort of modify the way we work. The way we've done that with OffScreen is we've expanded our Freeview recommendations. We've made that sort of twice as long now because, there's so much more need to watch things from the couch now. But instead of theatrical releases, what we've done is we've gone the way the industry has, and we're covering digital releases. There are new movies that are being put out exclusively on digital for the first time, so you can buy them on your Apple TVs or your Fire Sticks or your iPads, any device you use, really. So we're sort of shifting to that because that's where the industry is, for the time being.
When it comes to reviewing, are you brutally honest? I mean, I imagine there are plenty of films you really enjoy, but at the same time, films that you just really suffered.
Luckily, both myself and my co-host, Rebecca Perfect, we are both brutally honest at the best of times. And also, by the time we get to do OffScreen every week, because we record OffScreen on a Thursday morning, it goes out on a Friday morning for, the week ahead. The film week starts on a Friday, so we put it out for Friday. By the time we've got there, though, we've done usually 4 or 5 reviews, each of us individually through our various slots on different BBC stations and other stations. So it gets to the stage where we think, we've got more time now. Let's get into the grit of it a little bit. It's, we get to have some fun, but we do kind of get a bit painfully honest with them as well.
Yes, because I often think that people like yourself, it's a remarkable skill that you have. But the thing is that I also, a lot of the films that I like, because I'm not really into. I love a movie, but it seems the critics don't like it. They always like something which is very art house or very off the wall, perhaps because they're fed up with all the films that are there to make people happy, and it sticks out as something different, and therefore it's more interesting.
Well, we try to stay as unjaded as possible. Yes. We try to stay as as much for the love of the game as we can, and we try to keep we're going into a movie and you have to view it on its own merits. But if it's a popcorn blockbuster, you're there to have fun. You're not there to celebrate high art. No one's looking for a Best Picture winner in a Fast and Furious movie. So view it on its own grounds is sort of our sort of credo.
Yes, and I imagine also you. Can you ever relax and watch a movie because you think, or is the critic always there in the back of your head?
The critical brain's always there in the back, but it's just how loud you let it be. Otherwise, primarily you are there to absorb, a story. That's all it really is every time. No matter what the film is, if it's a documentary, an action film, a rom-com, or a prestige drama, you are ultimately there for 90 minutes to 2.5 hours, dependent. There to be told a story. And if the story entertains you, then you allow yourself to analyze it as you go. I mean, if it bores you, you'll analyze it as you go. But the primary thing is always how engrossed are you by that story? That should always be first and foremost, I think.
What's the best film you've watched since the lockdown started? Be it an old classic or be something which has come through, surprised you, it's new?
I'll be really honest, there is a film that got released to digital, and I reviewed this, I think, for New Year's Day when it was released in cinemas, and it wasn't a huge hit. It was a low-level success, I think, and it's the latest Guy Ritchie film. The Gentleman, that's been put out on digital this past few weeks. And I will admit, I've watched it 2 or 3 times. I think it's great. I think it's a genuinely brilliant film. There's a scene in the middle of it with Charlie Hunnam in a crack den that might be one of my favourite things in a movie so far this year. I wholeheartedly recommend The Gentleman if you've not seen it.
Right, okay. In a crack den. They're one of my favourites. Oh dear, gosh! Just out of interest, when can you remember the film that made you really think, do you know what? I love this. I really want to be involved in films, some way, shape, or form. In this particular way, obviously in a critical way, but it really hooked you.
I can remember very specifically the film that did that because it was like a lightning bolt moment. And it was Terminator 2 Judgment Day when I was 9 years old. It was that film that forever warped my fragile little mind and turned me into a full-blown professional film nerd in the making.
So it was Arnie who did it?
It was Arnie. It was absolutely Arnold Schwarzenegger. I can't blame anyone else but the government.
Who would have thought? But anyway, yes, one day you'll bump into him and you can say, thank you, Arnie. It was your fault.
I did, in fact, have that pleasure in 2014.
Oh, did you?
I can proudly say.
What was that like?
Very intimidating, but also very annoying because Keith Lemon was there and he was very disruptive.
Oh, damn. But in the meantime, really good to speak to you, Van. Podcast, if you want to look out for the OffScreen podcast, is that right?
OffScreen. You can find it on podcast platforms, wherever you get your shows on Friday mornings. But if you want to just be able to get it on any device you're using, just go to pod.link/offscreen, and there's every option there for you.
Oh, I love an option. Really good to speak to you. You take care, Van. Stay safe as well. Thank you very much indeed. That is Van Connor there, OffScreen podcast then, if you love your films. And it really will give you an insight into all the films wherever you watch them, be it on your devices or be it on the television. It's all there. Right, it's 3:15.
BBC Radio.